Yes, shout out to everybody for joining this space. Thank you so much for your promptness to be here on time. Shout out to you, Uncle Lecky. I hope I got that right. And then Victor Ekong. Thank you so much for joining in. And I mean, I saw a couple of people joining and then maybe left because it was still playing song earlier. My name is Ola Oluwasomi, and you're welcome to Yivera Distro Twitter space. This is one of the many spaces that we have bi-weekly. I think we'll pause for a while, but then now we're fully back, and today we're talking about a very, very sensitive topic: data-driven A and R. Balancing analytics with gut feelings, and we're having two of the most brilliant people to talk about this very space joining in very soon. Content Sensei, if you know Content Sensei on the space, it's always about very sensitive content about the industry, how to get your career going, balancing label and artist relationships and all that. And then we're also having 1010 join us. That's the head of A&R for Chalk City, and I mean that needs no introduction. So it's going to be really fun because one of the things these two people had been part of that initiated us bringing them for this very topic is the fact that, good evening, uh, Amy Cruz, I hope I pronounced that properly. Thank you so much for joining in. And so one of the reasons I brought this idea was these two people were part of the whole, if you know the A&R tour that they did, run schools, shout out to Content Sensei is here. Please, host, can you please send him a request, to be a speaker? They were part of that movement. As a matter of fact, they were core part of the movement. And that's like the first time that you had an A&R tour. I mean, we've had artist tours, we had, I think, even DJ tours thereabout. But it was almost impossible that we had an A&R tour, A&R tour around universities. And these two people were one of like the core pioneers of that idea. So it just makes a lot of sense to have them speak about this topic. Plus, also, we are fully in the data and the data era. And we know before the concept of A&R is all about God's feelings. Now we know that now that we're in a new era, how do we balance both? How do we balance both? Content Sensor, please accept. We sent you a request, please accept it. All right, so this is a very sensitive topic, especially for the industry as we speak now. So once again, you're welcome to Yivera Distro Twitter space. And to tell you a bit about Yivera, we are a distribution company, and trust me, we are one of a kind. Most distro companies, and this is not to shade distro companies, most distros that you find out there are mostly a white label service, more like a third party distro. But I can boldly tell you that Yivera Distro, we own, our own um, we own everything that enables us to be able to distribute. I mean, one of the problems that you have when you have a white label is the concept of how it is almost very hard to be able to break songs into genres and all that. But we're different. And then we could have been a white label service, but then, we just stand out to say, okay, let's do it the right way so that we'll be able to, all of these excess taxes that you experience when you're, signing up with bigger, with distros outside Nigeria. I mean, to say you won't have to experience that. So, we're just taking the bull by the horn. And that's aside the fact that there are other benefits, like we also distribute covers. If you did a cover for a popular song, and then, you don't put those sort of stores on distros, but then on stores, but we do that. We distribute that for you. That's to let you know that there are so many other benefits, and that's just a few, to just mention a few. Also, you get upfront payment for marketing, and that's just a bit about, Yivera Distro. So once again, you're welcome to this space, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a wonderful time. All right, so while I'm waiting for my guests, I don't know, maybe it's network issues, they keep coming in and out. I'll tell you a bit about myself. My name is Ola Oluwasami, and I happen to be the heads of marketing and the heads of marketing and comms for Yivera Distro, and also I'm a brand engineer. So if you know me, you probably seen me on Twitter. Before I joined Yivera, you probably call me a brand engineer, but then presently now I'm the heads of comms and marketing for Yivera Distro, and it's a privilege. It's a job that are embraced with so much humility. So I'm learning a lot in the process, but trust me, it's giving me like a new experience and a new perspective to the industry as you have it. So yes, to not bore us, so content sensei, should we start and hope that 1010 will join in eventually, or should we wait for him?
Tencent is gonna be here with us soon. At the moment, he's not here with us now. He said he's gonna be here with us in like, let's say, 10 minutes.
Okay, then. All right. Okay, so maybe this is what we're going to do then. Excuse me. Let's have let's start with you. Tell us a bit about yourself and tell us, the concept around, the data-driven A&R. I mean, like I said earlier, excuse me, like I said earlier, this is a very sensitive topic. It's almost impossible to find people who would be able to like understand the balance between gut feelings and then A&R, using data to drive A&R, narratives. So tell us a bit about yourself and just tell us a bit also about the topic as you have it from your own understanding.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, hello guys, good evening. How you doing? So yeah, the topic is data driven and balancing analytics with gut feeling. I think this topic is actually a very sensitive one and one that should be considered a lot more because the Nigerian market in particular is one that is not it's not easy for you to just use guts, and it's not easy for you to just data over here because we don't have enough data backing up so many things. Like, how can I don't know how to put it. In the US and many and other countries, it's easy to just use data to just make some kind of decisions easily. Over here, it will not apply because of many reasons. Nigeria is a very unique place. We are one people, but we are a lot of people as one. So our behavior, our mannerism, and everything can be different at times. It's easier to actually use data to analyze people more based on their age range because the behavior is kind of the same there than location you get. And that is why we have so many issues. It's beyond just being an here and now, even the sound itself. Without trying to say something about how the sounds from his own place to someone in another zone, they'll be saying it's demonic sounds, but that's the sound that they actually sing in their own side, and that's just it's just an application of how we just don't know much about each other, despite how much we know about each other. So you can analyze with analytics, but you have to find the balance between using analytics for analysis and actually trusting your gut. And that is where, like you said earlier, the program like the Air and Alto, that's what it's about. Like, we actually had to go outside and see students in different locations, and there were so many different things that we observed from the tour. For example, there were some schools we went to that, despite they had not broken out yet, they were actually very good and they had more range than even some popular schools. And the art is there. Now, if you check the Spotify numbers due to the demographic or the location, it's easier in a location like Lagos where almost everybody is up to speed with, technology. There's disparity in technology usage as well. And that is one of the things I'm talking about. In some advanced countries, you don't have that kind of problem like that. So over here, we observe that due to the fact that, let's say you don't stream they don't stream on Spotify that much, they stream on Audio Mac. You would see their Spotify and you would just say, nah, it's not that good, which is actually wrong because you have to judge from the music as well as the data, the numbers you're getting from it. But before we go deeper into that, I would just like to explain what an A&R is for starters. A&Rs, how can I put it in the simplest way? Okay, like someone said, I think it was Veda from Mavens. He said they're like product developers, but for music. And I liked that definition very well. Music, the artist, they're a product, and the people that are just trying to make them become better versions of themselves. Those are the A&Rs. They are in the label to do that. So they relate with the label and the artist. Whether they are more for the artist or more for the label can vary under different circumstances. But that is basically what they do. So that is their role within the label. What are the actual skills that you need? Well, you actually need to be good with your Microsoft suite, your Microsoft Office. You need to be good with Google Docs. You need to be good with what would I call it? Chatmetric. Yeah, Chatmetric is one of those apps or sites for data analysis. You need to be good with Chatmetric. You need to be good with Notion. Not really, but it's one of those apps that people use now, especially with development of AI. But the point is, the way that is what it is now. People don't go outside to see talent as much. It has now changed more to social media now. That's why it's very important for artists to actually, put themselves out there and just put yourself out there, because the more you put yourself out there, the more the chance of somebody out there just seeing you. It's as simple as that. It's a numbers game. The more you put yourself out there, the more it's easier for somebody to just find you. That's just the thing there. Back in the days, it used to be A&Rs going to the bars, to clubs, just seeing the random guy out there performing. After that, they just say one guy and just like, "Ah, fuck, call that guy come for me. Call that guy come for me." Ah, you sabi, you get talent, you get talent. Okay, I sabi this person. Just show you one picture that they took with Davido and Whiskey, or who we say then. Just show you one or two big guys and all that, and they just put you on to, I don't know, maybe one of those guys in radio. They work something out, because music used to break out much more through radio back then. So that was more of what it was then. But now it has evolved more. People still go out, not as much, because one, the country itself has issues. Security is a problem. So most of the times, Lagos is the commercial center. People don't like, executives in Lagos barely leave Lagos to actually, scout talent, which is why Lagos is the hotspot that everybody in the entire country gravitates towards. And this actually creates a problem. Like I said, some kind of sounds are not understood as much here. If you use some kind of sound, like someone like, Priest now, he uses Hausa sounds a lot. Like, there are some stereotypical things you hear from people like, oh, all these Aboki songs that used to play. But that is where he's from, and that is where God feeling comes in, because that is now where you as an A&R can handle that. Despite the fact that this thing is Hausa, it's banging here. So if it can bang here, if I can amplify it with the radio and everything here, people can just like it. It can be comical. It could be anything. The moment people can like it over here, that means if it bangs here, it will bang in the north as well. And then that is you having a hit song that will not just be within the southwest. You can easily cut across to other zones too, because that is one problem there. In some zones in Nigeria, the music that is popular there, if you experience there, if you go there and you experience it, you would be like, where are the popular songs I was hearing when I was in Lagos? It's a different reality out there. Drill is very, very heavy in the east, especially Enugu. It's like, if you check guys like Asta La Vista, I didn't want to mention Jerick. Jerick is now massive, massive. If you check Jusco, those guys, they are particularly heavy there, but the numbers are not translating as much. Like, you cannot easily tell how big they are until you see them at shows. They are performing. So does that mean because they don't have numbers? Does that mean that they are not good? So that is where that balance between the two comes in. So first things first, as an A&R, you have to work on building the artist sound. If you are building the sound, you have a target audience in mind, and you know the kind of numbers that is coming from that audience. So there has to be like a reality match with it. When you are developing Sheyi Vibe sound, let's say you're in Dapa or something, and you are developing a sound, you won't have immediate expectation of his Spotify to just become big. At first, you first maxed out the audio mark like they did. After they maxed out the audio mark and they saw that the street was heavy enough, they started to work on the media that will propagate him to the next level, which was hacking him on social media, presenting him in a different way, telling you a story that, oh, this is who he is, he's real. And some people fuck with that realness. You will not just expect the Spotify to just go Crazy. Now look at him now. The Spotify is the same way he dominated Audio Mac is the way he's dominating Spotify now. But it's a step-by-step process, and that's where balancing analytics and gut feeling comes in. Because if you stop at the first stage, you think, oh, is this thing working or not? Or is it not working? You get what I'm trying to come? Hope you guys are hearing me. Please, can someone else say
Yeah,
something?
we can hear you. It just seems so much that we just have to just pay attention and listen, but we can hear you, please.
Okay. It's like you just have to find a way to balance the will I say the Spotify with the Audio Mac. I understand that okay, we are not at that level yet. The people that are feeling him, they are different from those people that are feeling him on this platform. And that is where the knowledge of understanding what platforms tell the stories of which plays best. Let me explain this. Like, if I wanted to know how heavy I was on radio, I could check Pandora in the US. I mean, Pandora because in the US their radio, there are royalties for it, performance royalties. So I could check Pandora to see how well I'm doing over there, and I can start to actually know that okay, my music is moving and all that. That is me using one platform to target a particular audience. If I want my music to be heavy in the trenches, doing audio markets is a very, very, very good way to do that. Like, just amplify it as much as possible. That is you understanding, you're balancing the analytics with the gut feeling that, okay, people in the trenches use that. Of course, they use it. That's the demographic. But you also understand that the sound fits that platform and those people that are using that platform. That's how you balance the three of them together. It's not something that you can just apply because our market here is very, very different. If you get where I'm coming from. Another thing that is there is you need to actually be up to speed with the necessary tools that are required to work in music business on a normal day. Like, you should be able to understand that okay, when you started promotion, you had a spike at this time. Where did the spike occur? Maybe you see three different countries, US, UK, and Nigeria. Okay, you understand that okay, why is it spiking there? It's an hip hop artist. You have your answer. It's hip hop. So you can look at the states. Let's say you are getting consistent streams from that state. You can run an ad and target it there. That is you trying to build a fan base elsewhere. And you are targeting it based on the fact that you are getting feedback from your analytics that you are getting streams there. So now that you're getting streams there, you ask yourself, why am I getting streams there? Okay, I'm making drill. It makes sense that it's moving in UK and US. If I was getting it from Brazil, then I'll be like, what's going on? I want to know more. Or is it just a coincidence? But when you just see US, UK, you understand from the knowledge there that, okay. So if you want to run promotion, you have a budget, targeting that place makes sense. It's as simple as that. Though they are still, depending on the amount of money you have, you can go out of your way to now, I don't know, run airplay there. If you have the budget for that and you have the network for it, you can run airplay there. After a while, if you see that you have a spike there, you can meet a promoter there. You can big yourself up, show what you have done, and you could come on. You show them the data there, and you can perform there. And who knows, it could just be the start of, you know, a whole new fan base if you have the money. Because at the end of the day, money is the limiting factor in the music business, not talent. But understanding talent in Nigeria is one thing that is very important because you need to understand where they're coming from. The way you handle an Omali breakout, an Omali breakout was very powerful. A Rema breakout was very powerful. Okay, 10 times around. A Rema breakout is very powerful, but they are not the same in any way. The way their stories are told is very different. So that is one thing that's very important. You need to understand the difference between the artists themselves. And how can you understand that? You look at the people that are gravitating towards them. You look at where they're coming from and you find the balance with that. And like I said, it's just all about understanding the tools to use. Your Spotify for artists, you should know how to use it well. Your Apple for artists, you know how to use it well. Your Audio Mark for artists, you should know how to use it well. Chat metric, you should know how to use it well. If and after that, you need to actually go outside and actually experience these people. Because like I said, from the A&R tour that we did, there were just some little things that we could just tell. Enugu's drill was very heavy. Like their drill there it's hard and they have a lot of listening there. But the artists that are already I'm sorry, the artists that are already heavy over there, they may not have the numbers as much. But that means that if you can work on it and get the numbers in Lagos, you already have a ready-made fan base for you in the East. Add that together, and it's something you can work with. Sorry about that. It's
Okay,
something you
all
could
right.
work on, and you have something to work with. And also, if like which other region again would I give? FNAF, for example, they had a wide range of artists. Their style was much more different from any other school I'd been to. Unilag had a lot of artists, very active and vibrant, that came that day, despite the fact that it was within a short period of time, and we saw different talents over there too. So something that you will always observe is when you go to different regions, the type of music you see there is different. And until the different regions are developed, if you just use the data that this guy has more numbers than this guy, you will not see the full picture. So you actually have to understand where you are getting the numbers from, understand the kind of music you're making, then understand that is why it's moving there, then move forward with your budget and target marketing there or whatsoever. And you can also construct your sound to either suit them or suit some other people too. Yeah, I think I'll just let you introduce them. Is with us now.
All right, thank you very much, Content Sensei. I mean, you said a lot. Like I said, I just had to listen because you were making so much sense. Even some of the questions I was going to ask, you had somehow answered some of them, but then I'm still going to ask my question. I guess strong head. But before shout out to 1010, he's here with us. But before I bring him on to tell us a bit about himself and then tell us a bit about the topic, before I then ask one or two questions, let me just tell you a bit also about Yivera. You guys are welcome to Yivera Distro Twitter space. We do this often bi-weekly most of the time. And this is just to be able to create an avenue for most artists, executives, and label owners, what have you, to be able to learn from industry executive, like people who are really, really doing stuff. And we've been able we brought Wale of Audiomark, we brought Brimo's manager, we brought Lade's manager. Now we have, shout out to 1010 and Content Sensor. 1010 works with Chalk City, head of VNR. And so that's just to tell you a bit about what we do. And then as regards you've read distro, we are a distribution company, and we can get your songs to over 150 stores globally. And I'm talking even your biggest stores, both your video and audio. And that's aside the fact that we do some other stuff, like we could distribute your covers. If you did a cover for a song, we can distribute it such that, with this way that we can get an approval, and then you make money off it, and then the person that owns the songs also makes money off it. We do upfront, royalties also, like upfront, payments, for marketing. But I mean, those have terms and conditions. And that just tell you a bit about Yivera Distro. We presently now we're not doing all these yearly thing, and we're not like most distros that when you know distribute your song with us, that after you did not subscribe the following year we're going to remove your song from the stores. We don't do that. So you distribute your song with us, it stays with us for forever. Let me not use forever, but as long as it's possible. So that's to tell you a bit about us. So shout out to everybody on the space. John, Casper, I see you. Oyefeso, I see you. Kuti, Victor, Sasso, Prince, Laolu, XY, and all the people in the listener session. Good evening, 1010. 1010, are you
Good
there? Good evening.
evening. Yeah, I'm here. Good evening.
Yeah, shout
Right.
out to
Good
you.
evening, everyone. Shout out to you guys. Doing amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
Happy to be here.
Okay, so all right. So tell us a bit about yourself, and then talk a bit about talk a bit about the topic before I then start to ask the questions I would want to ask you guys also.
Okay. My name is Tenten. I'm the head of ENR at Chocolate City. I'm also a creative in that I produce, I write. I think because of the design of the the job ENR, it's a balance between creative and the business. So it, on the creative side, I write, I sing, I help artists to just curate projects. I sign artists too. Um, Yeah, for the most part, that's it. And then last year, like Content was saying, we embarked on we went old school on discovering talent. That is actually going out and finding people and just connecting with them and understanding their plight and finding solutions. You know, uh, as this topic implies, balancing analytics with gut feeling. I think um, it's very plain in that you have to have the best of both sides to win. Um, Analytics will actually, I think that it's not even uh, just analytics in the sense that like what we did with the tour last year, we went. I would like to see more of that. Going old school and meeting people and actually understanding what's going on. Like OAU is a whole different industry on its own. They are operating like an independent industry, and it's just interesting to see what's happening in those spaces. It's very important to connect to the underground, because I always say that the underground will always become the ones that we call stars. So balancing analytics, gut feeling, and um, connecting with artists. Um, I think they're very important in this. They're like the core. They're like the three trinity, so to speak, that helps to like make a perfect discovery, right? Balancing analytics, yeah, it's very important that artists are able to like build capacity. You know, I think that the perfect point would be that you know that an artist is able to build capacity with or without you, regardless of how you feel about the artist. I've signed artists that I've had gut feeling, and because I didn't balance my analytics, I just check what they have done and try to like marry it to the reality. Most times gut feeling is really just someone that excites you, that you really believe in. It's a whole different ball game when it comes to the business, and that's the part that you want to be sure that an artist is, um, is very aware of the business side, how well he carries his community, or how well he or she builds their community. You know, so I think the perfect fit for me would be like um, someone that's built community, that's built and is consistent. Consistency is such a simple word, but so it's a hard concept because it goes beyond how you feel or whatever situation is going on around you. Just being consistent and building what you have. I always use Wavestar, and I always use the artists that I work with as examples. Um, I'm with Means here in France, and just watching how he's been able to, work back to back and just build his community, feed his community. Just gives me more insight as to how relentless and tireless this whole business is. It's not a 9 to 5. It's harder than a 9 to 5. You have to see that an artist is ready to go all the way. And then I think like Means is a perfect fit in this conversation. You're looking at what he's doing, or the hard work he's put into it. The balancing analytics, to be honest, is the artist that is. It's just like when you're working, it's simple. When you're working, it's like business. This balancing analytics is like the artist with gut feeling, the label or the ENR. It's a two-party type business, and everybody has to bring in their A game. You can help the artist um, balance their analytics, help them build up their community and whatnot, but it's still mainly the artist. It's the one that everybody sees. No matter what happens, like, okay, there have been issues with Black's back end. There were some things on Spotify that he was talking about on the group Black Bones on Twitter about you Apple Music users, blah blah blah. You're not having the full experience. That is somebody. That's probably some that not probably. I mean house. That's somebody's fault. But everybody is seeing Black Bones. That's Black Bones. Everybody is seeing, and it's on him. So you want to make sure that um, you are airtight with whatever you're putting out. You're the one that everybody sees. You're the one that everybody will blame. You want to make sure that you have an artist that is relentless, that is ready to go all the way, and walk around the clock. It's not 9 to 5. It's 12 to 12. Trust me. You only sleep when sleep gets you. And the gut feeling, that's your own part. That is where you put your own work behind the scene and make sure that you just help the artist achieve the goal. So for the most part, I think it's a balance between both worlds. I'll put it like the artist, the gut feeling is you, is the label, is the A&R, is that's your work. The balancing analytic, there are two leaders here, the artist and the label, and I hope I've been able to just explain it. I don't know if you guys get what I said.
Yeah. Yeah, you were able to do it justice. I mean, I saw people dropping emojis for you while you were talking, and there's a way that you linked, and I like the way you did it. Which means God's feeling is, it's how you are excited about a project that you've had, and that comes from more like your energy, your experience and all that. But then the analytics come from what the artist is able to do to engage like the media and then some of the responses that they're getting. But there was something I'm going to ask before I would ask you before I would then ask Content Sensei. Content Sensei was talking about how some part of Nigeria, they don't have access to internet, to data and all that. And so a lot of the time when you talk about, data, these guys do not resonate when you talk about, oh, when you check them on Spotify, they're not so big. But then when you go to their hood, you go to their neighborhood and all that, the kind of music that people resonate with, they're heavy there. Like people, for instance, Jerry, the fact that Jerry still sold out a stadium last year, December, I think, he just it was amazing to a lot of people, especially people in Lagos who think, oh, whiskey and all that, those who can do that anywhere in the world. But then they realized that Jerick, who probably most people in Lagos probably don't even know his song, they realized that he's so big out there. And so in those cases where you said it already that there's a way that you're going out of your way to, to meet, to engage people, to understand community and all that. But in most cases where you probably don't have access to that hood. For instance, maybe you've not been to maybe somewhere in Bafarawa or somewhere in maybe somewhere in Bielsa, and you heard, you saw an artist who says, "Oh, I'm big," but you don't have access to the community, and you don't have access to like data to like tell you what they're doing. What approach do you then use in those scenarios? Do you then travel all the way down to Bielsa to confirm, or how do you go about it?
We go on an E&R talk. I think I
So you
think I
just
think
design
I
an outcome for that particular moves.
yes. I think I'm very passionate about artists in general, and this what you just said now is like what we're trying to solve with the A&R tour. There are places we can't reach, like Content was saying earlier. Like we go to Enugu and just you know it's deeper than whatever you're seeing on the TL. That's a whole industry on its own, thriving by itself, and I really want to see things happen from that end. OAU, trust me. In fact, they operate as if they are whiskey and Burner Boy. Like it's a whole industry what they're doing. So yeah, I think it's doing things old school. Go out and meet these people. Reach out. I discovered Wavestar on the tour in Unilag, and started working with him closely from there. And if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't have found him. So I think that it's a conversation that a lot of people are not having because execs most of us were in the office a lot of times. Me, I'm a rebel sharp because I've bid my time. Like in the office, from an intern to an A&R, so I've earned enough to stay outside the office for as long as I can, as long as I'm doing what I need to do. But I mean, I want to see that happen more across, where we, go out. I'm hoping that next NRT will be a collaboration around across, major labels. I've reached out to Veda from Maven, reaching out to other A&Rs. Let's go out. Like, there are limitations for this artist. Like I said, it's two ways. Like, and as we are doing this, we also hope that the artists will be pushing themselves out of, their region. There's no excuses on both sides. We've realized that okay, we need to be on the road. Artists should do what they need to do to get out there. Jerick is out there, bro. There's this guy, High Style Vista, that we found in Enugu. He's in Lagos now. He's in Lagos pushing, and I want to see more of that. Yeah, so I think there's an answer to that. It's still very young. It's still very like at the beginning phase, but yeah, I think the A&R tour will solve problems like that.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, that was a very easy answer. I don't even know. I mean, shout out to you. Thank you so much for that answer. I mean, for how you even made it so simple, and it's in a way also prompting the industry that this is what we need to do. We need to do more to be able to like get out of the whole executive office AC settings and then go out there and then engage the industry, the market itself, so that we'll be able to find. I mean, and this is will take me to the next question. There was something circulating on the timeline, I think sometimes this week or late last week, thereabout, when somebody said that the music industry, the quality of the music in the industry has sort of like watered down, and that's because the A&Rs are not doing their job. Content Sensei, what do you think of that school of thought?
What is the A&R's job?
Now you they tell us now. So
No,
now you
I
dey
see the
tell
way we laugh. What is the A&R's job?
us.
They are saying the quality of music. I wish people understood how much the crowd selects the songs that blow up. I think I remember was it not Rema when he had his breakout. I've seen interviews. I think it was Don Jazzy that said it that they pushed Iron Man. People went to meet the maybe like you are trying to push it to them, but people are going towards the maybe. And like okay, let's push the maybe. He moved. What they do? They built him towards Afrobeat style. That's what he had a trap style already. Like sometimes decisions now today, Rema is like is arguably the best Afrobeat artist at the moment because he's just dropping straight bangers like this and he has the brand to go with it. He's at that point now, but it could have been a different story if it was that song like Why that moved that time. They could have built a who knows a trap brand till now that does Afrobeats too. But it's that's just how it is. It's beyond the A&R's. The A&R's job is to ensure that the artist is making quality music that can also match the trends outside. You find the balance, or you completely go the other direction and say, okay, I am opposing this sound totally. Those that will fuck with me will fuck with me. It's finding the balance with things like that. You cannot expect music from now to sound the way it sounded those days. It's as simple as that. Like there are more influences. I think what people don't understand is music is culture, and culture cultural influence moves from one place to another. So the way the Western world was influencing us back in 2006 or 2007, or let's say we are much many singers now listening to foreign songs from artists like Chris Brown 2011, 2012. Those people that are singing now, it's part of their creative influence while they were growing. You don't expect people that had influence of music from so many. That's why if you look at our artists now, they'll
Uh, Content Sensei,
Same.
are you there?
And that is, you cannot
Okay.
change you cannot change who the artist is. You just have to find a way to find the balance between the music itself, the quality, to also be able to break out. Because if you make, I can't even buy that. I can't even buy that statement, because there are so many uprising artists that I know that are making quality music. You people still go back to the ones that will make you dance. So it's not the R&R's problem. It's the listeners. The listeners gravitate to what they want to hear. They are different. There are songs you call. Why is Lona not the biggest artist in the country already? You people love quality music so much. Why is it not the biggest? I mean, it's growing. It's growing at a very, very rapid rate. But why is it not the biggest? There's a reason for all these things. So it's the listeners, oh, it's not just the A&R. A&Rs are not the only ones involved. And there's a marketing problem too. The amount of money to break out is it's too much now. So those that have the money are those that get to break out. And many times those that have the money are not always the best. That is just the harsh truth. Don't let us be sugarcoating the problem. It's a marketing problem, not an A&R problem. For me, the people that get the money are the ones that get to blow up. So what is the limiting factor that is filtering people out is not the talent, it is the money. It is now the talented ones with money that blow. But the first thing filtering people now is not talent, it is money. So if you're an artist too, you have to find your way to money too as you're growing. Just know that, or network with people, or partner with people, or something. That's just the truth. Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah, thank you so much, Content Sensei. And I think you're right. I mean, you talked about two things. The fact that sometimes it's the market that picks or chooses, which song they would vibe to most of the time. And then also whoever has the most money would be able to push some certain songs, to a certain audience and then intensify their push. And sometimes, so you could be the most talented, but then they know they hear your song. So how would they be able to know that you're good enough? So I understand and I agree with what you're saying. So once again, shout out to everybody on the space, Kuti, John Casper, Radio Sweetheart, Benjamin, Sasso, Noelo. So please, if you know you have questions, contributions, please request.
Hi.
Hold on, Noelo, please.
Okay.
All right, so if you have questions or contributions, please request for the mic and it would be my pleasure to allow you to share your opinion. We have 1010, the heads of A&R at Chalk City, and then we have Content Sensei, who is one of like the top, the most rated content people who took like industry related content on the spaces and executives also. And so yeah, once again, you're welcome to Yivera Twitter space. I mean, we cannot drum this long enough because I feel like one of the things that when something is designed for a people, it benefits the people. To give you a little background story, Yivera started first as a white label distro, but realized that the problem we're facing, which is like problem of region and all that, how it takes you a longer time before you get responses and all that and all that, and then some of our our users, they don't have free access and all that. We had to design our outfits and our infrastructure, and that was what led us to starting our own infrastructure. That is like we design almost everything that needs us to distribute, and then so you have a smoother experience, and it's so easy that you can track your revenue on Yivera site, like real life. I mean, real time tracking your revenue on the internet. So there's no ambiguity. There's no waiting till 2 months before you get your document or whatever it is that you need to be able to track your revenue. So, all right. That being said, I think we have Noelo who probably maybe wants to contribute to ask a question. Good evening, Noelo.
Yeah. Hi. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah. I'm Emmanuel, popularly known as Noelo. I'm a brand and digital strategist, and I work with an artist called Kodahu. And yeah. So my few points. So we're talking about how the quality of music has sort of dropped in terms of quality, and I feel like the major issue is the fact that we've left the future of Afrobeat in the hands of marketers. Now, when you leave a business, a business that has a lot of what do you call it, sectors, to marketers, they're only going to find a way to make it strictly expensive, right? As a marketer, I'm number driven. whoever is marketer on the platform is obviously number driven. So what you're definitely telling them is what you're telling you is basically, I'm looking for the best way to get my artist outside or to make more money, even if it's going to get expensive or if no matter what it costs, because the label is saying we want results, and the marketer is going to get sacked if he doesn't find the best way to get that result, and it's getting increasingly expensive. So I think I like what Ten spoke about: community. We need to go back to community. We need to decentralize Afrobeat emergence, whereby you don't have to have so much to break out a star. For instance, the last 10 years, we have not broken out up to 20 artists. We have the same by recycling the same number of artists. Coming up, some will pop up, some will go down, some will pop up, some will go down, some will pop up. We have the same big three people or big two who have been actively big two for the last 15 years. That's a very big gap, in the sense that we need to go back to community, blowing artists in natural way, whereby we go great talent, look at their brand perception, how they being perceived. For instance, I'm sorry to mention artists. For instance, now, why is an artist like Young John, if Young John release the music, if there's no promotion involved, you might not even know an artist as big as Young John release the music. That's how crazy Afrobeat space is becoming. We need to go back to community building real, getting your own community. That's why people like what they call it, Santi, will always be in the conversation, because even if it's not really, singing what everybody wants, there will still be a number of people that will always still push him up. Right? That's why Odumodu, no matter who he disses and who he talks about, he has the Abuja community to still, push him out there. That's why we need to, decentralize the Afrobeat space and build community. So thank you. That's my ship.
Yeah, thank you very much. I saw that Content Sensei will agree with you. So let me ask 1010, in situations whereby you you have developed an artist and you feel like this artist is good to go, but by virtue of a marketer's perception and what they feel is right for the market and all that, I mean, to just digress a little bit, I was in the studio when Charlie Poppy's song was about to drop, which was the one he featured Zlatan and then Fireboy. And I mean, it's even shameful that I'm saying this. I told myself that this guy no fit blow. Like I feel like this song is not this that the song wasn't good, but the effort from the artist, by virtue of my own perception, I thought the effort wasn't good enough. And it wasn't up to like a month or two when they dropped the song, and then I was proved wrong. And I'm like the type who I eat my word when I know I'm wrong. Like, oh, Allah, you don't fuck up, take your L. And so I had to go back to listen to the guy. I felt like one of the things that helped him as a person was the fact that he probably already had something trending on TikTok before he even like dropped like a major song, and that helped him to be able to like, so it was more like what Noelo said, where you have a community already and it's easier for this community to be able to push you because they form like the base of your fan. So in cases where you're very certain, like your gut feelings is telling you that this artist is the deal, and then you've been able to convince the label, but then the marketer, who probably, like Noelo said, is driven by numbers and by resources and all that, is not in total agreement with you, what do you do as an A&R in those scenarios? Trenton, are you there? I think he's having network issues. Hello, Tenten, are you there? Can you guys still hear me, please? I need to know if it's
Yeah, I can
not.
hear you. I can hear you.
Or can you hear Ten?
I can't hear ten.
Okay, so I think Ten is having network issues. So maybe when he's back. But okay, so let me just throw the same question to or let's do it this way. Content sensor, you agreed with Noelo when Noelo was giving his point. Can you then buttress what he said in your own perspective, or like use your own words to like buttress what he said?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, to understand your question, did you ask how I'll deal with it if I believe in an artist and maybe the other guys in the labels don't?
No, no, you've been able to convince the label, but now the person who's supposed to be like the heads of marketing, by virtue of what they feel like is trending online on social media and all that. And it seems like though, because another thing I understand is that when the marketer does not really feel the song, they would not put much energy behind the song. So in those cases when you know that it's the marketer who is supposed to promote the song that is like giving like the wrong vibes, what do you do in those scenarios?
This is honestly like a new one for me. I've never actually been in a situation where a marketer feels some type of way. In real sense, it's the other way around. Like the marketers actually wait to. I mean, maybe because of the system I'm in and the people I work with, they always like want to hear from the A&Rs and just So most times it's usually maybe the label owners, they try to like just infuse their own thoughts or ideas. But in cases like that, um, I think it's not just an A&R thing. I think anywhere, any space you find yourself, you have to make people see reasons, right? Like it could be in an office, it could be in like a different industry. You have an idea, you have to pitch it, and you have to be able to convince, the people on the people that make decisions. And in cases where like it's just like a brutal no, I think it's important that you're in sync with the artist. Like so, most times what I just ask the artist is, are you sure that this is what you want to go with? I'm sold, but are you ready to go? Because like that's the most important factor. This happened to us during Haba. Nobody in the label, in fact, they didn't want the songs to come out, you know. And um, even for me, at some point, I was, yeah, I was almost getting convinced about. I kept remembering the first time Black Bones freestyled it to me, and that was what made me stick to my guns in the sense that I always try to remember the first feeling I had, because over time, like people can influence your thoughts on a song, but I always, I always try to remember how I felt the first time I heard the song. I feel like you are the most important factor. The only person above you in the decision making is the artist. I, I don't try to impose my thoughts on an artist. I always just want to hear from them. Are you sure? Because this is the person that's going to be the face of the song. This is the person that the fans are going to, are going to be on his ass, so to speak. It's not the marketer, it's not the A&R, it's nobody actually. They are going to call the artist whack or genius, depending on how they perceive the song. So I always ask the artist, "Are you ready to go?" And if the artist is ready to go, most times I just be like, "Man, yeah, let's go." A lot of times I'm sort of, and I feel like A&Rs. I don't know if they are ready to toe this lane, and maybe because I'm a creative myself, but I'm sort of rebellious when it comes to things like this. I just go with the artist, and whatever the case may be, whatever the outcome may be, good or bad, I just stick to it. Remember during Haba, I was telling everyone, including like the label owners, like, yo, if you don't like the song, it's not for you. In fact, bro, how old are you, self, that you're even talking about this song? Like, this song was not made for you. So if you don't like it, I can understand. It's because it's not for you. And at that time, like we were blacklisted, me and Black, the label at that time. But I mean, we're here now. So a lot of times, I just like to um, stick to my guns. It happened with Wavestar too. I was working with his label with his former label. I mean, although it wasn't signed to them, but at that time they wanted to change his sound. They wanted him to be more alter. They wanted him to be more pop. His alter and hip hop sort of. And I'm like, bro, what do you want to do? He sent me a couple songs from the Star Life mixtape. I said, bro, we're going. Are you set? He said, yes. And we went with it. and I mean, it's here now. So most times I just try to align with the artist. That's the most important person in everything.
All right, so I think I got my answer, especially when you said at some point you and Black were blacklisted. So I don't already get my answer. The moment you align with the artists, I mean, whatever anybody has to say, damn no. So shout out to you. Thank you so much. Big Trick, good evening. You want to say something?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Yes,
Yeah.
I was literally going to say, something
Yes,
similar to what Ten said, because at the end of the day, it's a business. Sometimes you can try your best to make the people you report to see reasons why you should go with this direction for the artist, and at the end of the day, if they don't see it, how will I put it, that shouldn't stop your gut. If you trust it, or if you're 100% sure there's something there, and you align with the artist, at the end of the day you just have to go. I mean, if you don't go, you're not going to know the outcome, you're not going to know the potential it's going to hit. So you just have to like trust that your gut and move at the end of the day, because the good part about it is, if the outcome is good, the same person that told you no can still come back and back up what is already going, and be like, okay, you know what, you had me wrong, and oh yeah, okay, what's happening now? How can we amplify, or how can we make it bigger than what it is now? Because it's looking good. I think you were right, we have something here. So at the end of the day, you just have to go, as long as you trust it. And if it don't work, it didn't work, and you just move on and you keep going. Try something else.
Yeah, especially like, do you want an artist to drop something he doesn't like? Like, if I have to choose between an artist and the marketer or whoever, eh, should artist drop what he doesn't like? I mean, you'll be forcing the artist to promote, to make
it's a
content.
no-brainer.
I'm not
So,
even going to work with someone that is easily swayed. Do you understand?
yeah.
If you put in the hours to make this product, and it just took one marketer to tell you, I think you should, except that person has like a very, very strong reason that maybe makes sense with you, or maybe you connect with you as an artist. If not, if it's not stronger than your gut, then you should go with it. And if you're easily swayed like that, then it's almost like all my work or my efforts can be twisted in one moment, just because some numbers guy thinks, oh, you should go like this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Big Trick. And I think that makes a lot of sense. So I'm picturing this from this angle, and I want us to like round up the space in about maybe like in the next 10 minutes or maybe 15 minutes thereabout, so that I don't keep you guys for long. I'm looking at it this way, that, from the question I just asked and from what Big Trick and then 10 said, it's more like the artist has his own gut feelings, the label owner has their own gut feelings, and most of it, and even the marketer, they probably sort of like have their gut feelings. The marketer will probably have some data to back up his gut feeling, But then in most cases, because like Ten said, the artist is going to eventually be the face of whatever happens. If it works, it's the artist. If it doesn't work, it's still the artist that gets the backlash. In this case, I mean, from what Ten is saying, he would just like align with the artist, because I mean that gut feeling, he was the one that made the song, he knew how he felt. And in cases where you push this artist to promote a song that they were probably not connected to, the will to like promote the song, to like go out there to do all of the promos required and all that would not be there. You have to be forcing and dragging the artist to do this, and it sort of make so much sense. So shout out to you, thank you so much, Beatrick and then 10 for that answer. And I'm going to ask this question before I then allow Solitary to speak. So content sensei, what do you think, like, from how much relationship should be between an artist and an A&R. And I'm saying this because most artists understand that, oh, there will be time when maybe they don't blow, and now they are probably looking for maybe other A&Rs to work with, or maybe they don't already like your sound or your tone is like almost out there, so they needed somebody else and all that. Like, how close do you think an A&R and then an artist? Because I understand they are not the manager. How close should that relationship, like how close should they be? I know that, a producer and an artist need to have like a sync, mentality, school of thought, because whatever ideas or songs you have, the producer need to understand the perspective that you're trying to lay down and how you're trying to lay down the song. But in this case of an A&R, you could probably promote an artist like Ten was talking about black, and he's talking about means now, which means maybe most of the time he's no longer with black. In how close do you think that relationship should be, knowing fully well that tomorrow your label might say, oh, you want you to like work with this artist and not this other artist that you've been working with? Content, are you there? Content says, are you there? Okay, I think it's network issues. Big Tree, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, content says, are you there? Okay, I think there's network issues. Okay, so maybe when he comes back, he would probably give his opinion about the question. Solitary, good evening. Solitary, are you there? Good evening. Uh, okay, so maybe Solid Movement, are you there?
Hello, are you
Yeah,
guys hearing me?
yeah, we can hear you. Good evening.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Good evening, everyone.
Okay, hold
Um,
on. Solitary, Content Sensei, can
okay,
you hear us now?
Okay, sorry, you should go on. You should go on.
Oh,
I'll
okay,
speak after him.
okay. All right, Solitary, go on, please.
okay. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted asking, right? An artist just trying to create awareness, try to create a fan base, and considering what everyone have shared, we are in an environment now where everything is monetary. Like even the least friendship you could get, money has to drop. I'm not saying it's wrong or something like that, but you can't just be dropping money everywhere you the road leads. So how does one like cope, find the right people to work with to like achieve what they actually want to achieve? I don't know if I make sense.
Yeah, you do. And I'm going to say a thing about what, I mean, I'm going to answer the question in my own little way, and then maybe when Content Sensor is speaking, it would then maybe have to what else to say.
Okay.
So I think most of the time, the reasons why it's costing you a lot of money is because you're trying to, um, you know, um, you're connecting way beyond your level. So let me give you an instance. If you reach out to Dr. Kule FM now and say, oh, please, I need to be in your platform, he's going to charge you because, number one, he doesn't know you. Like, you guys don't have it. So this industry is built on two things: contact and relationships. When you don't have somebody's prior contact, or in cases where you have the contact but you don't have a relationship with them, it's going to cost you more money. Do you get me? So I think most of the time, because people try to network way beyond their cadre, that's the reason why it's costing them a lot of money. And I'm not saying that, oh, there are no people out there who they are way beyond your cadre and then they probably still do things for you for almost free. But the closer people are to the industry, like to the core of the industry, the closer they are to living the lifestyle of a celebrity. So it's more like there are 7 stages of what makes an artist. There is the talent phase, the branding phase, the production phase, the marketing phase, the performance phase, the reward phase, and then the lifestyle. So a lot of the time, the closer you are to the industry, the core of the industry, the more there is a pressure on how you have to look. Because if you see Dr. FM now and it's smelling, you don't go even want to rate them. Like, there's so many OAPs out there who are big, but because they don't have that celebrity look and all that, you don't mess with them. So there's a standard of how you have to look, the lifestyle, and the more people are closer to like the core of the industry, the more also they have to live that lifestyle. And that means they have to put a prayer of how they live on people who probably need their services. So if you go to meet these people, they're going to charge you. I know people who probably charge as high as 1 million naira to be able to, do an interview for you and all that. You might think it's wrong, but if you think about it also, these people have families, they have bills and all that to pay. But in cases where there are people on social media who are just still emerging and they need like connections, they need to build contact and all that. If you start with these people, it won't cost you much. And even if it costs you, it would be something that you can easily afford. And I'm telling you from experience how these things work. I have an artist who I'm working with, and we were building gradually. And gradually, as we were building, we were being able to do two concerts at Ifakoja Stadium. Now, don't get me wrong, at some point we had to spend money, but we were saying that we were moving at our pace. And then one day we thought, okay, let's do like a major move. Let's reach out to Olamide. So we reach out to Olamide, we reach out to what's the name of this guy at Malian Record, Zinoliski, and a couple of other people. Now, Olamide wasn't ready to collect money from us, but Olamide listened to the song. He said he liked the song, but I don't know if that's true or not. But the report we got was that we were not buzzing, and it was then I understood what it meant because we were building, gradually around the Fakoijai Stadium. That if we want to do a show, we know we're going to have good turnout, like some solid turnout for somebody who doesn't have like a major hit song. But then, we don't have like major buzz, which is what Content Sensei was talking about the other time. Sometimes you have to go with your gut feeling because Spotify doesn't have the data, but our Audio Mark had like crazy numbers on Audio Mark, but Spotify wasn't reflecting those numbers. And so when we sent the song, they said why I'm buzzing. For Zeno was saying that he wanted to do this song, but then the manager then felt like, why are you doing this song? It seems like you're just helping people. Like, you don't need to do that. So now that we're trying to build beyond our immediate cadre, it would cost us something. But these now artists will be say we have Pasuma. Pasuma was at the event. I'm not saying Pasuma is in our cadre, but I'm saying that because we knew like Rocky Bat, it was easier for us to get Pasuma. But if we're now going to like shoot our whatever and try to get Olamide's attention and all that, it might not even be Olamide that is demanding for money. It might be people around him. Somebody wanted to take an artist to Don Jazzy's office, and the person demanded for 1 million naira. The artist eventually paid 500,000 naira to just take this guy to go visit Don Jazzy. So it might not even be like Don Jazzy himself that is asking for money. It would not even be Don Jazzy that is asking for money, but people are going to put a prayer of their own life on you. So you have to, you have to manage sort of like a relationship you are trying to build and see how it would not be strenuous, especially would not put a prayer on your money. I don't know if that makes sense, but I will allow content sense. Are you there? Okay. Solitude, does that make any sense to you, please?
Yes, yes, it does. Yes, it does. It really makes sense. Yeah.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And then 10, I don't know if you heard the question Solitary asked, and then maybe you want to say something about the question. Maybe you want.
Sorry, can you ask again?
I mean, he was talking about how there's so much, having to pay bills and all that because you wanted to promote a song. That is there a way that you could boycott that, and it would not cost you like a whole lot the way people are demanding for money up and down to promote a song because most of the time you might not be able to keep up.
Okay. Okay. Before I answer that, I just need to say I have to go because we means and we need to like step out in a bit. So, but to answer that, Omo, you go spend though. That's like the cool. I feel like you see, my definition of star is not just someone that is talented. It's someone that is able to break barriers, and part of the barriers like is finding people to believe in you enough. When you find people to believe in you enough that they'll bring money out of their pocket, I feel that those are the things you find people that will also share values, not even just bring out money from their pocket. They are also able to work with you for free. You know, those are things that labels actually look at. There's no way you will escape spending money. I mean, Patoranking was selling rat killer in traffic, but he's able to get a Timaya to believe in him. He's able to, and these things just keep happening over and over again. That we have niggas from like the poorest, just getting to the point where they are where they are. So I don't think you can boycott it. You can't boycott spending. It's music. Music is really, heavy investment type business. So sorry for the background noise. Sorry about that. You can't boycott it, but you have to find a way to build capacity in every way. And one of the simplest thing, easiest thing that you can do is, again, I mean, we always talk about it, but again, it is there in our faces. It's social media. The least you can afford, that everybody can afford, is data. There are ways to go about these things. There are ways to like put yourself in people's face in very creative ways. There's Fimi. I don't know if I don't Fimi. I don't know if you guys know Fimi, the rapper. She doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going on behind the scene, but it doesn't look like there's big budget, but she's finding her way in her faces. We are seeing Fimi. She's in different ways with her creative direction. Like, you really need to show people that you're for real. So you build capacity, just build capacity, and then you see things. You blogs will even post it for free, self, because what you have is unique and stuff. So uh, you can't escape spending money. You can't, but don't even think about it. The deeper you go into it, the more you have to spend. And I hope I've been able to answer that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ten. God bless you. I mean, we're rounding up now. Even content says his network is like messed up. So thank you guys. Ten, Content Sensei, thank you so much for being a part of this space. We really appreciate you taking time out to, answer some of the questions. It's really been an entertaining and a very, enlightening session. So thank you so much. Now we are letting you go. You're free to go. So thank you so
Yeah.
much, Ten. God
Thank
bless
you
you, man.
guys. Appreciate it.
Really appreciate
Bye.
it. And once again, shout out to everybody on the space: Big Trick, Noello, Solitary, Kuti, John Casper, Radio Sweetheart, Remile Kun, Genio, Senorita, Balance Records, Laulu, Takilion. I hope I pronounced that properly. Z, OV1, Nekad, Nino, Ferraro, and other people in the listener session. This is Yivera Distro Twitter space, and we do this bi-weekly, which means hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have another entertaining session. Yivera is a distro company that has the capacity to put your record in over 150 stores globally. And that's just one part of it. Another thing that we do is that the moment you sign up with Yivera, you have a referral code, which means everybody that you bring on board and then they're able to like distribute with us. They distribute a project to get a certain percentage, for referral. So I mean, we try to make things as easy as possible, and that's aside the fact that we also distribute covers, distribute covers, and then you have the capacity to be able to get like an upfront marketing budget. I mean, but that has like terms and conditions, sort of. So please, if you know you have like issues with your distro, and like we said, there's no ambiguity anywhere. You can track your revenue on the timeline on the website. You can track the revenue, like what you're making. So you don't have to wait till the end of 3 months to get your report and all that. That doesn't happen with us. So we've tried to make it as easy as possible, and it's a do-it-yourself platform that you don't need any help. We want it to be a click away to be able to understand, what you need to do to be able to promote yourself. And aside that, also we even also do publishing. So there are some artists who, because they don't have publishers, they have money that is just spending there in the publishing pocket, and then nobody's collecting it. So what we try to do to be able to help you gain like all your revenues is that the moment you're signed up with us, we also help you try to look for your publicity royalties and help you collect them up until when you then have a publisher. So yeah, I mean that's that about Yivera Distro, and I hope today's session was worth your time. I'd leave you guys with this opinion, and that's to let you know that you see, the industry is built on two things, and that was why we had to speak about this very topic. I mean, I'm not talking about what enables you to be able to grow in the industry. I mean, that was when I talked about contact and relationship. But the industry is built on two things. It's built on gut feelings. Gut feeling is coming from your psychological knowledge, which means what you've been exposed to, what you've seen, what you've learned over time, the kind of energy you have built up over time from the bulk of the music that you've listened to. So you have a certain gut feeling. If you meet a Chinese person and then you play Afro beats to them, they're lost because they don't have any knowledge of that in their mind. So there's no way they would have a gut feeling around audio, around Afro beats. So when you play your song to somebody who probably has no understanding of what you're talking about or what you're singing about or the elements in the sound that you're playing the song to the wrong person. They would not be able to advise you. And I'm telling you a million times and one, because the gut feelings formed the foundation of what can enable you thrive. You see the data, sometimes data could vary in the sense that, oh, maybe I'm just playing a song and then I slept off, and then the song, the music, mistakenly, maybe it was on shuffle, and then he went to a certain song, and then he played that song. I wasn't listening to the song consciously, it was just playing. Now the data is going to read for that song. That's why sometimes data can be wrong. But don't get me wrong, sometimes you have to also be able to analyze your data, because technology is heavily involved in the music business, from when you have your tapes to when you have your CDs to when you have your um gramophone and all that. Technology has always been, a part of music. All of the distributions and all that, it's always been a part of music. And that's where the whole ideology of, data came in. The moment there was a distro, data became a key factor and how you read, what music is doing and how music is doing. But these data can be, it could be manipulated. I mean, we know the whole stream farming and all that. It could be manipulated. So sometimes data are not right. And I like the way Content Sensei puts it, that you have to learn to balance both. But what I'm saying is this: it was why the other time I mentioned that the label would have their gut feeling. So if your label boss is not like a music head, he just has money, trust me, you are in for a lot of issues, because they are probably going to be looking at what is trending in the market. They don't have an original gut feeling about music because it's not really their interest. So their head is like somewhere else. And so when you play a good song and tell them to listen to a song, they won't have anything positive to tell you. They'll tell you, this song, they go, they hear the way Rema they sing, or Ziba. If you do something like that, at that moment they are not listening to you because they have no knowledge about what you're trying to do. And this is not to shit on most record labels, but this is what happens in most record labels. They are not music heads. They are not music heads. That's why sometimes you need an A&R, somebody who has an understanding of music. And I like the way Content Sensor and the intent and puts it also. There is no way in this very world that you would understand. For instance, Nigerian market is like so dynamic. So you would not say you are in Lagos and then you understand somebody's music from Enugu. Number one, you probably don't understand their language. The elements in the sound, you don't understand them. There's no way you're going to listen and you say, "Oh, this is the guy that is supposed to be trending," or this. So somebody who is a Yoruba, like a core Yoruba person, might not be able to pick an artist in Enugu and say, "Oh, this is the next big thing in Enugu." Do you get my point? So you have to find a way to balance it. So when you're talking about gut feelings and data, I like the way Tencent puts it. So you need to everybody needs to bring like their A game. So it means if you're bringing gut feelings, make sure you have an understanding of the culture, of the roots, of the tradition, of the elements that makes up the music. You have a deeper understanding of, maybe the artist, the psyche of the artist, and also the psyche of the market. If you're bringing data, don't bring falsified data. Make sure your data are verified, your data are well analyzed, and then we can then make the best decisions for the artist or for the songs that we're dropping. And sometimes also both of them can be wrong. The person that has a gut feeling can be wrong, data can be wrong. And in those instances, sometimes you need the grace of God. So I'll just leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for being a part of today's space. It's really been an amazing session. I learned a lot, and then I hope you guys also learned a lot. Do have a good evening. We're going to see in the next 2 weeks, hopefully. Bye, guys.